Hi everybody, it's Lene. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel today. So to continue the fall theme this month, I'm going to be using this wonderful paper pack. It's called Seasonal Splendor, 12 by 12 patterned cardstock, and it's available at Paper Wishes hot off the press. It is absolutely gorgeous. Let's take a little peek through here. You're going to be getting 2 of each of these papers. Here we go. And I'm looking for one specifically to be the cover of a book that we're going to be making, a no-sew bookbinding project. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to do. This one would look so beautiful along the edge of a bound book. And there's a nice all-over print. This is beautiful. I have no idea what kind of flowers these are. I'm strictly looking at it from a color perspective. This golden color is really pretty. And then this beautiful brown. And then we've got these sheets of cutouts, and it's got a dot on the back. And then you get a whole nother set. All right, so not sure which one of these we're going to use for the cover of the book. Instead of using white printer paper for the inside, I'm going to be using this craft colored printer paper. And I got this at Amazon, and I'll put the link down below in my Amazon store. It's just very lightweight, printer weight. But I loved the color with this paper pack because I thought the white would be too stark on the pages on the inside, but you can use whatever you have. So we're going to be taking, let's first start off by prepping the paper that's going to go on the inside, because I think the inside pages kind of determine how big we're going to go with the book. So you could just take pages like this, fold them in half, so short sides together. All right, and then you're going to get a really nice, like this is 5.5 by, of course, 8.5 inches. You could do a book like this, and as long as you had some cardboard that was big enough and it fit the paper that you were working with, you could make a really nice journal size like this. I'm going to cut this sheet in half, and it's just going to be a little bit smaller. All right, so we get 4 pages from each 8.5 by 11 page. And don't worry, I wrote it down for you. Okay, so one 8.5 by 11, you're going to fold it in half, and then you're going to cut 2 pages that will be 4.25 by 5.5 inches when you're done. So here we go. This whole nice little stack here. And the most important part of this project is you want to make sure that all your folds are going in the same direction. And then you just want to compress those down, because we're going to be gluing what's going to be the binding and using a little bit of fabric over that. So it's just a really simple technique to do. Now, as far as the cover part, I usually like to use like a chipboard cardboard like this. And I usually just tear off the backs of like notepads, like legal size notepads. None of the notepads in our house have cardboard on them because I always tear them off and throw them in my stash. But you know, not everybody buys those. So what else can we use? So I thought this would be the right size. So yeah, this cardboard is it's a little thinner than the chipboard, but I think we can definitely make this work. So measuring this, it's going to be about, if we took, this is about 8 3/8 by 6 1/4. We have plenty of space here. So I'm going to cut this down, and then what you'd want to do is have a little bit extra space around your book binding. See where that orange is sticking out? That's how you know you have just enough space for your covers, and that kind of determines what size of a box you would have. All right, so I am going to cut this box down, and I'll show you what I come up with. All right, I cut my cardboard down. I just used my paper cutter because it was just so thin, and I cut the cover to 2 pieces of 5 3/4 inch by 4 1/4 inch. Okay, that just means it's a 1/4 inch larger than this side and this side. All right, so those are those pieces. Now, before we do anything with these for the cover, we need to do a little gluing on our pages. So once again, all the binding, all of the folded pieces are on this side. You want to just make sure they're all going the same direction. And I have these little clips that I got at the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to clip them together so everything stays in place. The other thing I have is just a piece of muslin fabric. Now, you can use any kind or color of fabric. I shouldn't say any kind. You should use cotton fabric because glue will absorb into it easily, but it can have a print on it. It doesn't matter. It can be kind of just a scrap from an old shirt or anything like that. It doesn't have to be solid. It doesn't have to be white. It just has to not show through the pages of whatever paper you're using. So if you're using white printer paper, then you might not want to use a piece of like red bandana or something that you have. You'd probably want to use something solid white. All right. So this fabric is cut to just actually less. We don't want it to go farther outside of this 4.5 inch. So it's actually cut to 4 1/4. That doesn't look like it's 4 1/4. Let's see. It's actually just over 4 inches this way. Okay, so, and then it's 3 inches tall. So my meaning is that you don't want fabric sticking off each end here. All right, now we're just going to take some Cosmic Shimmer Specialist acrylic glue. I like this because it's designed to be paper glue, but I have done this project with like tacky glue, Aleene's tacky glue that you can get at the Dollar Tree or any craft store really. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this glue and we're going to put a nice thick amount of it right on these pages. Okay, and then you're going to take your finger and you're just going to spread that out so it's nice and even, and you want to cover all of that, those folded edges, because that's what's keeping this whole thing together. Okay, and now we're going to take this and we're going to place it right on the edge. Okay, and we're just going to smooth that out. All right, it doesn't really matter if these side pieces are particularly even, but it is nice for the moment. They're just going to get covered up. So you just want to have something that's going to be glued down on either side. So for now, we're just going to go ahead, put them like this. Yeah, just like that. All right, and then we're just going to let that sit for probably half an hour, and then we'll be back. All right, so I chose this really beautiful green paper with this gorgeous border, and what we're going to do here is just sort of select an area that we would want to have on the right side of the little book. Okay, so towards the binding, and I really like this area towards the top, so I went ahead and I cut out from my other sheet this piece right here, and I'll give you the measurements. So the cover paper, that is 6 3/4 of an inch by 5 1/2 inch. So 6 3/4 by 5 1/2. Okay, and you're cutting 2 of those. So I'll do the back cover in a minute. So what we're going to do with this is, you can go ahead and you can glue either side of this. It's going to be covered, but I'm going to go ahead and just cover up the orange side. And we're just going to make sure, okay, that's going to be our side. Glue that right in the center. Okay, so now we have a nice 1/2 inch wide border all the way around the paper, and that's going to be great for folding it in. The next thing we're going to do is just trim away a little bit of all 4 corners. And you'll see there, I did not cut it right up next to that little point. There is just a tiny little space there. Like that. And we do that little space so that when we do our little folding here, it's not going to expose that little point. So I'm just going to go ahead and fold like this. Great. And then if you have a bone folder or a butter knife, either one of those works, Just gonna kind of make sure that's a good crease there. I want to make sure it's really up against that cardboard. If it's not really up against the cardboard, you'll kind of have a crooked cover. It'll kind of be a little lumpy around the edges. All right, so now we're going to take a little bit of glue. I'm just going to put it right here up next to the cardboard. And we're going to do this. Okay, and we're going to do the other side. I like to put it on the cardboard so that it doesn't kind of squish out. If you put it on the paper, that works too, but sometimes if you get too close to the top edge, it kind of goes squish. All right. And then you'll notice on our corners, we have sort of that little mitered edge right there. And that's because we did that little clipping on the corner. And that's a good thing. Oops. Just did something I told you not to do. Okay. All right. So this part is done. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the back cover. So both of my covers are done, and it really does, they're so similar. It doesn't matter like which is the front and which is the back. They're going to go like this, okay, so that this is going to be the edge, the bound edge of the book. So I'm going to place them like this. We've got our little papers that are glued here. Now we're going to just take this cloth, and we're just going to tack that down. Just like that. All right, so first thing we're going to do is take this paper and we're going to put some glue on it, and this is going to be the inside. It's going to go like this. This is going to be the inside page, just like that. And that's what's kind of keeping the whole book together, okay? The fact that these pages, front and back, are glued to the cover. All right, so let's do like this. Notice I'm not getting right up next to the edge. I am leaving a little bit of space. And then we're just going to turn this over, and we're going to center that right there. Okay, we do want to make sure it's even here, 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 and then towards the back of the book, what will be the binding, you want that up there kind of close to the edge. Okay, see if you can see. We're even on these sides. There's a little bit of space there, and that's okay. And then we're going to lift up that page that we just glued down. Just going to kind of smooth that out. And I did get a little bit of glue seeping, which is not what I wanted, because then the pages can stick together. So when I'm all done gluing this, I'm going to let it kind of stand up and get all the glue off of the pages. We don't want them to stick together. All right, so we're going to do the same thing for the other side. Oops. Okay, so crucial part here, binding. Okay, there we go. You don't want to get that turned around. Just like this. And I like to just go like this. Just make sure the covers are aligned. Like that. Okay, we're opening this up carefully. We're going to do the same thing there. All right. Now the job is let this dry, and you just want to make sure your pages aren't gluing together. So like sometimes right there's a little seepage. Just go back through, kind of make sure everything is coming apart okay. And then I would let this dry for probably an hour. And then we're going to talk about what we can do on the binding here. We'll be right back. All right, so that fabric binding is dry, and now it's time to talk about covering it. So I just took a little bit of this dot paper, which is brown, and I thought it was so pretty. It comes from that same paper pack. And then I just cut this one down to, I wanted it to be like about like this much showing. So it is 2.5 inches wide. And then I wanted it to be just slightly smaller than this 4.5 inch tall book. So I'm thinking like 4 5/8, just a smidge. Okay, so here are those measurements. And then what I like to do is just kind of round this a little bit like this. You're just getting it to round so that it's not creasing when you put it on here. So we're just going to put a little bit of glue here and here, and then here and here, because it's just really decorative. Putting that there, and then we're just wrapping this around, and then we're trying to make this part and this part even. And sometimes you just kind of need to move it around till you're happy with what that looks like. Making sure it's not crooked here. Ooh, that's really crooked. Okay, like that. And then turn it around this way. That looks pretty good. And we're going to do something else to this binding, so I'm happy with that. All right, end papers. Now we're opening this up. You can just leave that like that, or you can take some of the paper that we had left from that one sheet and you can glue, this is the reversed side, so you can glue that in. I thought, how pretty would that be? But also let's do a little inking. Just a little brown ink on those edges. Like this. And then one for the back as well. And then I kind of, as this is developing, I'm thinking that like what kind of book this is. Like what would I do with this? And I usually have that in mind before I start. But I think it would make a really nice gift and like a gratitude journal. We're getting towards the end of October. Time to think about November and Thanksgiving. So I'd be interested to know what you guys would do with this book, because if you've been watching my channel for a while, ooh, little glue here, you'll remember I love to give away my projects to my subscriber friends. So how that works is, oops, need more hands. I would like it if you would give this video a thumbs up. That would be really cool. Also, I'm concentrating. So yeah, like it, leave a comment, okay? Tell me what you would do with this project. I would love to know that. And come back and watch next week's video. Oops, this popped off. Because that's where we make our announcement. And all of these instructions are at the end of the video. My editor and sister-in-law, Carrie, is really great about giving that information very clearly so you know how to participate. All right, there we go. So I'm also thinking that we can add a little bit of lace. This is what I got at the Dollar Tree. So we could do a little bit of lace right there. I've got my little stash, woo, almost dropped everywhere. Little stash of flowers, paper flowers. And I found in the cutout page, we've got this, My Heart is Grateful, and there's all kinds of other cutouts. And then I had a little bit of paper that, of course, I used my tag punch because I had to make a little tag. So that's how we're going to finish this off. So let's check that out, and then we'll do a flip through. So as you can see, front cover, added some little paper flowers over the little crocheted lace, and then some little buttons. Just love these little white 2-hole buttons. One at the top, one at the bottom. A little blessing sticker. This comes from Tiny Words and Phrases Dazzle stickers, and I'll link those down below. These are from Paper Wishes. As you can see, I use them a lot. On the inside, took our little greeting, glued it just on the sides and bottom because it was just a great little place for a tag. And then also a little tag pocket right here, a little tuck spot. And then as I was going through, I felt like the pages needed a little something, so I literally just took scraps of paper and inked them, just cut them into strips and inked them, and then glued them every 5 or 6 pages throughout the book so that it just had a little color, a little something as you were using it. And then you get to the back, another little pocket. One of my favorite little tips if you're making these little layered tags, and by the way, the tag punch, I get asked all the time where I got that. There's a link for it in Amazon, from Amazon, down below the video in my Amazon storefront. Anyway, if you don't have a little embellishment to add to your tags, I love using the 1-inch circle punch, and then just taking your paper and then finding something small that you just want to feature, and then punching that out, and then ink the edges of that and put a little foam tape under it, or you can just glue it directly too. But it gives you just this nice little focal, okay? It kind of zeroes in on something, and it's just a nice little addition. So, you guys, love giving away my projects to my subscriber friends. As I said, I really hope you liked today's project. I honestly wasn't sure which direction I was going with it when I started this morning, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. And as you can see, these books with the no-sew binding, where you're just gluing it with using the fabric binding, are really, really simple to do. Don't have a lot of moving parts. You can adjust the size very, very easily. I can't wait to hear what you think about it, so definitely leave me a comment, and I'll see you in the next one.